very tax force he established to manage these national assets. These transactions were carried out in the name of the people, have been sold off in secret at questionable prices and without the president's full knowledge, points to potential cover-up and a failure of governance. This undermines not only public trust, but the very foundation of the new Gambia. Gala noted the president's reference to the National Assembly and the National Audit Office, but these bodies have their limitations and timelines. Given the urgency and the gravity of these regulations, many of which were outlined in our public petition and further corroborated by the investigative report, the assets of the Gambia's former dictator go for a song, it demand immediate and bold executive actions. Gala's demands are clear and uncompromising. First, full transparency. Publish detailed report or record of all recovered assets, sale proceedings, buyers' identities, and the amount paid. The public is entitled to know how their resources are being handled. Independent investigations. Establish a separate, impartial investigative body with full legal authority and a restricted timeline to prompt into the sales and management of these assets. This body must be free from political interference and empowered to compel testimonies and access all relevant documentations. Accountability for all involved. Anyone, regardless of rank and political affiliation, found to have engaged in corruption, negligence, and mismanagement of must face legal consequences. Gambians will not accept scapegoats, whilst those truly responsible remain untouched. Concrete presidential action plan. The president's speech lacked clarity, time-bound roadmap for justice and reform. We urge him to urgently present such a plan to the nation, outlining how his government will rectify this scandal and prevent future abuse of public trust. It's a defining moment for President Adama Barrow and for our democracy. The people of the Gambia will not profit by speeches. We demand swift, transparent, and uncompromising action. Looting of our national assets in the name of justice is a betrayal that cannot be ignored. On the National Assembly extraordinary sitting, Ghana will have preferred an independent NAB who is not part of the ruling party to head the committee. We cannot be both a player at the same time a referee in the same game. Such an arrangement lacks an impartiality and credibility required to get to the heart of the scandal. The government people deserve more than a political charity dressed up as an oversight. We know the selection committee have been made already. Though we are unhappy with this leadership, we will let them do their job whilst we watch them closely. Finally, we reject and condemn the legal arrest of our members by the Gambia Police Force in the last weekend and protest. Peaceful protest is a constitutional right, not a crime. Targeting citizens who are standing up for transparency and justice is a blatant abuse of power. We call on the police to remember that their duty is as custodians of the law, not tools of intimidation, and not to act in service of people, not political interests. Such actions only strengthen our resolve and expose the very route we are fighting to uproot. Equally, we have learned about state ministers issuing threats to citizens for participating in a peaceful and lawful protest. We call on the ministers to withdraw and apologize, as we will not be intimidated by anyone. Finally, to every Gambian, home and abroad, we express our deepest gratitude. Thank you for standing by the truth, standing by Gala, and then for helping ensure our collective voices are not gone unheard. Some of our demands have already begun to gain traction, and this momentum must not stop. We urge all citizens to remain vigilant, vocal, and unflinching fighting for accountability. The youth are the future of this country. It's not enough to hope for change. We must be the change. We cannot remain passive whilst a few explore our national wealth for their own benefit. Ghana stand firm and call on all Gambians to do the same. Together we will ensure that justice is not just spoken, but served. Ghana will continue to mobilize, expose, and hold accountable all those who seek to profit from our injustice. We all call on all Gambians to remain engaged, informed, and united in the pursuit of accountability and protection of our national wealth. Signed, Omar Saibo Kamara, spokesperson, Gambia against looted assets.
After listening to His Excellency President Barrow's symbolic speech yesterday, I am more convinced than ever that we are living on an oligarchy. In the wake of explosive revelations regarding the disposal, sale, and apparent looting of former President Jammeh's assets, Gambian youths and citizens have rightly demanded transparency and accountability. In response, President Barrow hastily convened an emergency cabinet meeting that promises a detailed audit, while the National Assembly follows with an extraordinary session pledging a parliamentary inquiry. Yet, these gestures, reactive and conveniently timed, are not signs of a proactive or principled government. These are sedatives meant to tranquilize public dissent and buy time, rather than genuine accountability. We are witnessing the choreography of state capture, where the three arms of government collaborate to preserve the status quo instead of upholding justice of the population. We have a long way to go. I don't believe in any of these projects or initiatives that they're coming with, because we have countless others that they initiated with no conclusion. And these ones are not any different from those ones. It's a strategy, like I said, state capture, where a few people or few entities within the state, they benefit from what should be the greater good of the population. We have a long way to go.
Upon learning the details of those sales, some for the first time, I convened an urgent cabinet meeting, some for the first time, 2025. Their findings will be made public, and my government will enforce their recommendations to address the shortcomings discovered and hold accountable any individual or entity found culpable. Let me reassure every Gambian that the assets recovered belong to the people. My administration will not tolerate negligence or any wrongdoing linked to safeguarding our nation's resources. We are committed to full transparency in whatever we undertake on behalf of the people. And I pledge that lessons learned from this incident will be used to fortify our institutions and systems against future lapses. Until we receive the report on the ongoing investigations, I urge you all to remain calm